Taking your hips all the way back into extended child's pose for our morning, energizing morning flow. So we extend our arms nice and long, tucking our chin. Just try and get your chin tucked right in so that you can bring the hairline down to the mat. And then just have a look at your knees. Make sure that your knees are level. Sometimes if we're tighter in one side, that hip will be slightly higher, so the knee will come forward a little bit more. So we're trying to create that balance in this stretch. So with our extended child's pose, we want to just release any tightness, any discomfort in that lower back. Just create space through the hips, stretching the thighs and the knees, the shins, the ankles, the tops of the feet. If you're finding a little bit tightness in your shoulders, then you can come into Balasana, where we just sweep the arms round the back with palms up. And that helps to open up our upper back, especially between our shoulder blades. We now come into the breath. So focusing on our pranayama at the start. So we start with a clean slate. Being aware of the breath coming in and out through the nose, sending it down to the space just below the chest and above the navel. Just breathe gently into this space. And then with your next breath in, just shift the breath wide into the rib cage. And try and deepen this breath a little bit more. So you might start to feel your rib cage press gently into your inner thighs as you breathe in. And as you breathe out, feel the rib cage leave. Now this is our chosen breath for our Hatha practice. So we maintain this diaphragmatic breath through our practice this morning. Bring awareness into your side body and try and elongate by pressing the hips further back and reaching your fingertips forward. As you press your fingertips forward, feel your armpits press down towards the floor for that deep stretch into your waist and your side. Staying with this pause to help stretch, to help awaken. And then with your next breath in, you're going to take your right arm, thread it under your left one, and take your eye gaze under your left arm. So feel that nice release through your upper back, arm and shoulder. And just take a little bit of weight back into that right shoulder. Try and get your right ear down on the floor and just look under the arm. And just notice the breath. Try and slide that right shoulder blade further away from your spine. And as you do that, feel that deep stretch in the rhomboids. And breath in. We come to the other side. So we lift up, thread the left arm under. And just notice how that feels on this side. Slide that left shoulder blade away from the spine. Taking more weight into that left side, into the arm, not into the hip. So keeping the weight distribution through the hips equal. And just breathing. These are all lovely warming exercises before we come into our practice. Then we lift up on the next inhale onto all fours for our cats and cows. So draw your knees in so that they're hip distance in line with your hips. Shift your weight forward. If you want a bit of a foot stretch, you can tuck your toes under, and that just helps to open up the soles of your feet. If not, you point your toes back and press the top ankles into the floor. So we're in a nice, strong horse stance. Hands are shoulder width, knees are hip width, tummy lifts up, back is nice and flat. And then all we do is just move the chest through as we dip through the lower back. Keep maintaining that core connection. Then scoop through the tailbone, round through the spine, part through the shoulder blades. And then start with the breath. So inhaling, bringing the chest through between the arms, looking forward, breathing out, round through the spine. So we move a little bit faster, inhaling, chest through, eye gaze forward, just energizing the pose a little bit more. Exhaling, rounding, tucking in the chin. And making sure we're not dumping through our shoulder blades, especially as we come through into our cow pose. We don't want to dump through the shoulder blades. So maintain, I'm just going to show you on the side. Maintain strong through your upper body as you come through. So it's just the movement of the pelvis, the spine, just creating a bit more mobility through your body and just waking it up. So 2 more. Really pressing down through your hands. And 1 more. Then back into your horse stance. Take your right leg and extend it back, tucking the toe under, pressing the heel to just elongate that leg. Bring the right knee down. Let's do the same with the left. So this helps us to get a deeper stretch through the Achilles, especially before we come into our downward dog. So a nice prep stretch. Keep the left leg where it is and bring the right leg up to meet it. And then lift your hips up and back into downward facing. Now press through your hands strongly as your tailbone is up towards the ceiling. Pressing your heels towards the floor. Now try and pull your hands apart to engage your upper arm muscles. And draw the tummy in and the floating ribs in so we don't dump into our thoracic spine. You might just take your eye gaze forward and just check your fingertips are in line. And then just bring your head back between your arms. Just hold your downward dog for 1 more breath. And then start to bend the knees and walk the feet towards the hands in a forward fold. Feet are hip distance apart. Then inhale, roll up through your spine. Take your arms wide and high. Fingertips touch. Exhale, come into your forward fold. Tucking in your chin. Into that forward fold. Lovely. Rolling up through your spine again. Rolling up, using your core, activating the core muscles, arms wide and high. Exhale, forward fold. Tucking in the chin. Fingertips down on the floor or hands on your shins. Let's do it 1 more time. Inhale, roll up. Use your core, rolling up. Arms wide and high. This time, Anjali Mudra, hands to the center of your chest. Bend your knees and tip from the hips, just so that your shoulders are about hip height. Extend your arms out wide and squeeze your shoulder blades in towards your spine. Now lift your belly so your knuckles are pressing up towards the ceiling to engage the arms. Then we start to just wrap the arms and take them wide. And then alternate. So 1 arm comes in front, almost like you're giving yourself a hug. So breathing out to bring the hands in, breathing in to take the arms out. So we're going to feel this warmth through our body. Keep your belly lifted. So you're working against your own body weight here. Gravity. You're going to finish with your left arm in front and roll up through your spine, taking your arms wide and high. Come into Anjali Mudra and then into Tadasana, mountain pose, arms by your sides. Just close your eyes. Take 2 breaths here. Feel that prana, feel the energy in your arms. Maybe drop your shoulders away from your ears. Then inhale, take the arms up and then shift your weight into your left foot. Pick up your right leg. So right foot off the floor, knee in line with hip. So holding it here, taking a big breath in. As we breathe out, step that right leg back into warrior 2. Left knee is bent. So checking that your left heel is in line with the instep of your right foot. If your hips are really tight, just walk your heel towards in line with your toes. Take a breath here. Then we windmill the hands either side of the foot. Step it in. Forward fold. Inhale, roll up through your spine. Arms wide and high. Shift the weight into the right foot, pick up through the left. So this is activating the stabilizing muscles. Activating our balance. It's really important for the beginning of our day. Our focus and concentration increases with our balance. Step it back into warrior 2. Well done. Just press that right knee out. Lovely. Extended warrior. Reach forward and down. Pick up the heel. This time step it back into downward facing dog. Float through into plank. We're all coming to knees, releasing our toes back to a half chaturanga, keeping your hips in line with your shoulders as you bend your elbows, skim the ribs as you land. Now stay low, roll the shoulders, activate the back muscles by pressing the elbows in. Squeeze the buttocks, push the pubic bone down, and then lift your hands off the floor. Use those back muscles. Don't press the belly down. Keep your feet down on the floor. Hands come down, elbows tuck in a little bit more. Push up and back into downward facing. 2 breaths here. Inhaling. Exhaling. Bending both knees, lunge your right foot to the outside of your right hand and hold here. Left knee comes down to the floor, release the left toes back and turn your right toes on the angle. Roll to the outer rim of the right foot and just shift your weight forward and back. You might want to turn into that right bent knee and then turn away from it and look back to the left. And again, turn into the right and turn to the left. We've got one more time. This really helps to open up those hips. And tuck the left toes under, lift the left knee and step it back into downward facing dog. Bending the knees, lunge the left foot to the outside of the left hand. Drop the hip and hold. Lovely. Right knee down, release the right foot. Turn the left foot on the diagonal. Roll to the outer rim of the foot to let the knee come out further for a deeper stretch. Turn into that bent leg. Lovely. Turn away from it. And turn into it. Good. Now just check that that ankle is directly under your knee and it's not at an angle. So if it is, draw the foot in a little bit closer. So draw it in so it's under the knee a little bit more. One more time. Good. Hands come down, foot comes down, tuck the right toes under, lift the right knee and step it back into downward facing. Float yourself forward to plank. You can stay on your toes in a full chaturanga dandasana all the way to floor. Push the floor away and lift up into bhujangasana or stay low in your cobra. Press your hips all the way back to extended child's pose. Tuck in your chin. One more breath here. Downward facing dog. Inhale. So Adho Mukha Shavasana. Bending the knees, lunge the right foot to the outside of the right hand. Bring your left heel down on the floor and sweep your arms up to warrior one. Try and square off your hips, so you might need to take a wider stance. Taking the arms around the back and clasp hold. Send your knuckles down towards your heels. Open your chest, so energizing the front body. Nice chest shoulder stretch. Then as you exhale, come into humble warrior. So you're bringing that shoulder to the knee and taking the arms away from your lower back, knuckles to the ceiling. Hands come down, lift up through the left heel and step it back into downward facing dog. Bending knees, left foot to the outside of left hand. Bring the right heel down, sweep the arms up, warrior one. Now draw your floating ribs in. Sometimes when we're flexible through our spine, we can hyperextend. So we lean back more and we stick the floating ribs out, and it encourages the upper abdominal muscles to pitch. So we want them to draw in. And try and think about elongating the spine rather than taking it back into a more crescent shape. Arms come behind, clasp hold. As we exhale, bring your chest forward and down. Arms away from your back. Release the hands to floor. Pick up the right heel, step back to down dog. Float through to plank, knees or toes. Chaturanga, tuck the elbows in. Push the floor away, Bhujangasana. And hips all the way back to extended child's. Now just be really mindful when we come through into our Bhujangasana. I'm going to show you on the side, so you might just want to have a little look. As we come through into Bhujangasana, don't be tempted to take the head back. Look at the compression in my neck when I do that. Yeah, you get a stretch through the front of the neck, but there's other ways that we can do that to keep the back of the neck safe. When we take the head up and back, we put so much compression on the back of the neck. And as we age, those discs become less, and we don't want to do that. So as we come through into our Bhujangasana, the chin draws back and the eye gaze stays forward. As the chin draws back, that keeps the neck nice and safe and in line with the spine. So we're meeting an extended child's. Just to give you a little bit of anatomy on that. Come into your downward facing, tuck your toes, lift your hips up. Big toes touch, heels press to floor. And then right leg sweeps up. Open the hip to the side, but square your arms. Lunging the right foot to the outside of the right hand, take the right arm all the way up in a lunge twist. We take the right hand and we thread it under the left arm, keeping the hips low as we exhale, so getting into abdominals. Inhale, stay low, lift the arm up. Exhale, thread through. Inhale, lift up. One more time. Exhale, thread through. Lovely. Hand comes down, step it back into downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg sweeps up. Hip opens to the side, but square your shoulders. Lunge that foot to the outside of the hand, straight into your lunge twist, left side. Inhale. As you exhale, thread under. So we're working into our obliques, bringing shoulder through. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, thread through. One more time. Inhale. Exhale, thread through. Hand comes down, step it back into downward facing. You can stay in down dog, you can come to extended child's pose, or you can power up with me as we float through to plank, chaturanga, into bhujangasana. Just watch that chin and head placement. Well done. Hips back to heels. Downward facing dog, hips high. Bending both knees, you're lunging your right foot between your hands and bringing your left heel down. Now you're aiming to get heel to heel alignment here. So adjust that right foot if you need to. Straighten out through that right leg and either bring your hands to your shins or your thighs. Stay away from the knee joint. Square off your shoulders with the floor and feel that deep stretch. Moving into Trikonasana from this pyramid pose, we sweep the left arm to ear and then all the way up to the ceiling. Now we might need to move that hand, we might need to bring it on our shin or our ankle or our thigh. Try and press the outer rim of your left foot back, turning your chest to the side. Take this left hand, wrap it round your back and hook it into your right hip crease. That gives you a deeper stretch through the chest and opens up the shoulder a little bit more. Now we're going to bend that right knee and drop the hips, bringing right elbow to thigh. Now you can stay here. If you're here, press that right elbow in and see the engagement through the arm, palm facing upwards. If you want a little bit more, we're going to come into the bind. So the right hand will come inside of the right thigh, bend and find the left fingertips behind your back. Well done. We hold it here. We can look down to that right foot. We can look to the side or we can look up. Drop that left hip down for me, just half an inch, that's it. Hands either side of the foot, pick up the heel, step it back to down dog. Your choice to stay or come into chaturanga, nice and slow. Strength as we lower. Flexibility and strength, stretching through the abdomen. Back into downward facing. Find that breath. Sliding the shoulder blades down your back. Bending your knees, left foot through. Right heel down, heel to heel. Straighten that left leg. Square your shoulders, so feel that really deep stretch in your legs. And right arm lifts up. Take it all the way to the ceiling as you turn your chest. Tuck your tailbone. Draw your tummy in. One more breath here. Make sure we're lifting those kneecaps up into our thighs to strengthen the thighs, the quads. Take the arm, wrap it round the back for a deeper stretch into that shoulder and chest. So taking the right shoulder back a little bit and sliding it down. Bend that left knee and drop your hip. Now elbow can come on the thigh like before, or we can take the hand in front and interlace the fingers, or just reach for the fingertips. Eye gaze down or to the side. Keep dropping the hips so it's knee height. Tummy up and in. Pelvic floor engaged. Well done. We release the hands either side. Pick up the heels, step it back to down dog. You choose where you want to be with this, or come with me into your vinyasa. Chest through and up. Now we're all going to meet in an extended child's pose. So pressing your hips all the way back. Now coming onto your sit bones, I'm just going to come onto the side for a better view and come into Navasana. So we pick our feet up into boat pose. Now lift your chest up, relax your shoulders down. We're going to bring the shins up and then flex our feet. Well done. We might hold it here with the hands just at the back of the thighs, or we might release with palms up. Now keep squeezing your thighs in and lift the center of your chest up. Make sure the tummy is drawn in. One more breath here. And then we cross right ankle over left and come into a fold. One more breath. And then back onto your sit bones again. Hands to chest in Anjali Mudra. Feet are on the floor with option 1, elbows wide. And then we take the shoulders back. Okay? So we feel that activation in our core. We don't want the tummy to be rounding. We want it to draw in. So hands press in. Now you can stay here and just twist. Right, back to center. And then left. Now try and keep your thumbs into the center of your chest. Okay? If you want a little bit more, you can pick your feet up and twist. So you're really having to work with your balance and coordination here. Keep going. Lovely. You're going to do one more each side. Breathing out, breathing into center, and then out again, and hold. Okay, squeezing knees together. Take a breather, cross the legs, come into a fold. And then we lift up, back onto sit bones again. So we pick up and take the hands away, and we tap the heels just outside our mat and bring them back in again and squeeze. So we come out and in, out and in. Okay, so your arms are out for your counterbalance. Okay, out to the side, tap and lift. So this is really good for working the adductors, the inner thighs, the outer thighs, lower abdominals. We've got one more. Well done. Cross and fold. And lifting up, coming onto your right side. Knees come together, top arm lifts. Now you can stay here and just work on lifting up through the side. Okay, so you're lifting that right rib cage up. So we're working into the obliques, into the sides. Or you can take your knees to the side so that you're looking down the flat thighs. Okay? And then lift the hip up. You can extend the top leg and hold. And then we're going to bring elbow to knee and release. So squeeze and release. Squeeze and release. Now what you're looking to do is to keep your hips the same level as you bring in and out. Don't drop and then lift. Okay? Keep it up. So the resistance, the tension is staying there. Squeeze. Two more this side. Squeeze. And one more. Well done. Relax down. Come on to the other side. So finding your option. You're maybe just here lifting up and just holding. Okay, are we ready? Knee to elbow. Release. Squeeze and release. Now make sure you're squeezing your buttocks. That helps to open up your hips and keeps your lower back nice and safe. Breathe out, elbow to knee, breathe in to lengthen. One more. Well done, release. Come onto your front. And just rest your head on stacked hands. Now coming into locust pose. We want the legs about hip distance apart. We're going to prep them up, so push the pubic bone down to floor, lift the belly button away from the floor, and then power off your legs. So power up your legs, lifting them off the floor. Reaching your toes back. So this is more about length and height, really. And then release. Take your arms back. So reaching fingertips towards your ankles. Palms are facing in. Re-engage. So push the pubic bone, lift the belly, keep the legs down on the floor. And let's just lift the upper body. Squeezing your shoulder blades in, reaching your fingertips to your ankles. Chin is in, eye gaze is to the floor to keep your neck in line with your spine. And you're breathing into the rib cage. One more. And then slowly lower. This time we're going to add both together. So we're lifting chest and thighs off the floor. So we set up, belly lifts, pubic bone presses down, arms lift away from the floor. And as we breathe out, we lift chest and legs. So reaching your legs back. Another 2 breaths. Inhaling, exhaling. And then hands come down, elbows tuck in, and hips go back towards your heels. Extend your child's pose. Or you might come into Balasana where you're resting the wrists. And tummy's lifted. Well done. Lift up and come onto all fours. So we take the weight in the hands, okay? Tuck our toes under, our hips are going to lift high, and we're going to jump our feet wide, okay? So we lift the hips up and we jump our feet wide as we press back into a full straddle. Well done. Tucking in your chin. So toes are in, heels are out. You might get your forehead or crown of the head down on the floor. You might bring the elbows down. And you might just interlace your fingers and create a little dish in your hands so that you can bring your head down onto the floor or down into your hands. You're pressing your hips back, tailbone's nice and high. So really pressing your elbows down into the floor. Just lift your heels up and just shift your weight forward if you can, keeping your belly braced. You can feel that work in your core as you lift your tailbone high and then bring your heels down to the floor. Going to try that one more time. Shifting the weight forward, lifting the heels and engaging the belly. Well done. Heels come down, hands come underneath your shoulders. And then step it back into downward facing dog. Now we're going to try and jump our feet nice and wide. Okay, our hips are nice and warm now. So if you want to just have a little look, we look to the hands, bend the knees, we lift the hips up and we jump our feet wide as we drop our hips down. We then lift the hips up and we jump it back into downward facing. Well done. Try again, bend the knees, look to the hands, spring as you lift your hips up using your core. And then jump it back. We're going to do that one more time. So bend in the knees, jump up, hold it here, and then lift the hips up and jump back. And then float to plank, chaturanga, bhujangasana. And then hips back to heels and extended child's. Well done. And tuck your toes under, lift your hips. Tummy in. And just start to walk your feet to your hands into your forward fold. And roll up through your spine. Take your arms wide and high. Anjali Mudra, hands to the chest. Shift the weight into the left foot. Find your tree pose. So option 1, foot down on the floor. Option 2, heel below the knee. Option 3, high into the thigh. Now just tucking your tailbone under, relaxing your shoulders. Starting to lift your eye gaze to challenge your balance more. Moving from tree into warrior 3, Vibhadrasana 3. Right heel goes back. Reach your fingertips forward. Then moving into Ardha Chandrasana, we open the arms wide, then start to turn. So the left fingertips are down towards the floor. We open that right hip and we take the right arm towards the ceiling. Bring that left fingertips down, right fingertips down, right foot down and roll up through your spine. Arms wide and high. Anjali Mudra, and we hold. Coming into tree pose on the other side. So foot down. Or find your option. Hands to chest, we hold. Start playing around with your eye gaze, making sure our hips are nice and level. Really focusing on your breath here. That's what balance and poses does. It really makes us come really into our breath, focus more concentration. And then warrior 3, heel goes back, arms come forward. And then Ardha Chandrasana, we open up, half floating moon. Reach your right fingertips to floor, left one, foot under hip, and roll up through your spine. Arms wide and high, come into Tadasana, palms forward, close your eyes. Big breath in, arms wide and high. Come into forward fold. Step it back into downward facing. Float to plank, chaturanga, and stay low. Coming into bow pose. So we're going to reach back. So bend both knees. Reach back for your ankles, drawing your toes to shins. Tucking your chin in, lifting your belly, and then press chest and thighs away from floor. Squeeze your thighs in. Maybe do a little rock forward and back to stimulate the abdominal muscles. Well done. Keep those knees pressing in. One more breath. Slowly release. Back to extended child's. Just let that breath settle. And then we're going to finish in Virasana and hero pose. So we lift up, knees come together, we kick the feet apart, and we bring our hips down between our heels. Now, if you have any issues with your knees, you're going to use blocks, 1, 2, or how many you need to keep your hips elevated. If you don't have blocks, then just use a pillow or a blanket, a gathered up blanket, or your bolster. So if you're with me, heels are just outside the hips. You get an amazing stretch through the thighs, around the knees, the shins, the ankles. And this just helps to close the hips off a little bit so we're not leaving with the hips really open. Take thumb and index finger together and to the ankles, where the chakra points are at the ankles. Just lift your chest. Just close your eyes. And just move your breath from your ribs to your belly again. So focusing on that deep belly breathing. Just notice how you feel now after your practice. Our energizing morning flow to help set you up for the rest of the day. Take a big breath in. Let your arms come wide and high, palms touch. Thumbs come to the third eye, position between your eyebrows, elbows come together. As you breathe out, just bow forward gently. Namaste. And rise. Bring your hands to the center of your chest. Take a deep breath in and out. Blink your eyes open and give yourself a big clap. Well done. Have a wonderful day, everyone. And see you next time. Any questions?